Alright, I just want to start out today's video by saying thank you to everyone who's used the creator code on screen so far. If you've been out of the loop, Teamwood added a feature to their website where you can buy content for the game in their web store and support a SAP creator at the same time. Which is super cool of them, they didn't have to do that. But yeah, that must be about a week and a half that this has been available. And it's very fun seeing when people actually make purchases. Of course, it's all anonymized, so you don't know who's buying what. But I can tell you for sure that the vast majority of people are buying the special mega bundle where you can get all of the packs released so far for $30, and that includes the mini packs. Definitely makes sense, and I've been crying out for a SAP bundle for a long time, so it's great to see that actually paying dividends for the developers. And with that being said, I think the bundle actually runs out this week. The bundle will stay around afterwards, but it won't be $30 anymore. It'll go up to $40. So it's still a discount, but not quite as good. But yeah, every time I see someone purchase the bundle, it does make me wonder, the next time I go into customs, am I going to be facing someone new who now has access to all the tools? Because it definitely does make a significant difference being in customs when you have everything available to put into your pack. The obvious stuff being, Crow, Bonobo, Cyclops, any of the experienced pets. Quetzalcoatl's another good one. So let me know in the comments if you've bought the bundle since the launch of the web store, and if you've decided to take it into customs yet, or if you've just been enjoying playing the static packs. But anyway, on to the run. Now this one is from a little while ago, and it was another one that I just kept in my back pocket because at the time of recording, there were a few other videos on the go about Fruit Fly. And Fruit Fly is one of my favourite units from the mini pack. It's such a unique ability, and it's actually even more useful than ever since the release of Danger Pack, because it allows you to replace White Ochre, which is one of the best perks in the game, with Blueberry. And I was trying to come up with more ways to use Fruit Fly, and so I wanted to make a build where Fruit Fly itself is also holding Blueberry, and there's a benefit to it. So of course you could just play a very small Fruit Fly in the backline with Blueberry and then allow it to tank, maybe a 25 damage Leopard Snipe. But I wanted something a bit more significant than that, an actual legitimate reason to have Blueberry on the Fruit Fly and it benefit my team. So I'm not going to spoil it in the thumbnail, I don't think. If you want to try and guess now, what do you think would be a way to utilize Blueberry in a positive sense for your own team without just being a decoy? Now actually you can see how old this is because the Bonobo's ability is slightly different, or at least it was bugged in the first version of Danger Pack where you could play it at the front and it would just transform into itself. But that's since been fixed. But obviously I take advantage of it in this particular run. I guess we would have still been able to play it exactly the same way. We would just have to hold the Bonobo in the shop until we got something to copy. So now maybe you can start to see how this is going to work. We don't have the Blueberry yet. I can't remember exactly when I get this because this was recorded back in June, I think it was. As we level into Cats. So I think I could just sell... Okay, no, it looks like I'm going to take the Manticore instead. I guess that will work with the Sea Cucumber. I really don't like... okay, we roll into the pill for the Anteater, and I'm just going to recover the gold now, even though there's not really anything else here I want to buy. So I think we'll just roll down. We are on 5 hearts. We find the Blueberry, and then we find the Ibex as well. So I think I mentioned this in a previous video that Ibex plus Fruit Fly is super good because it basically guarantees that that unit is going to get hit and have its stats reduced at start of battle. So we'll bring in the Ibex now, and we put the Blueberry on the Fruit Fly, and maybe now you can see exactly what's going on here. Although you would think it might be donut that I need here, it's actually blueberry that will redirect the tasty buffs onto the fruit fly. Now, of course, the first opponent here ends up knocking out the fruit fly, which is one of the difficulties of this particular build. And I did have quite a few attempts trying to make this work, with pretty limited success. And I definitely did have some games where I put donut on the fruit fly in the first place and then realized to my cost halfway through the game that it didn't work. But now you can see it working. The fruit fly survived the first hit. So it took all of the buffs from the tasty all to itself. And then, of course, because it is pretty much guaranteed to get knocked out, at least initially, because especially since it has no armor, some of the other tasty buffs get spread around to the rest of the squad. So we find another Manticore, which is great. We just have to hope that we get matched with teams that don't have big units at the front. Unfortunately here, Matchman messes our team up by putting Sleepy on the fruit fly. Of course, if you have Blueberry, you can also just get hit by a snipe, and therefore you're not going to have enough health to successfully knock out a unit and survive. But it is pretty satisfying when it works. So here we should get to knock out the turtle. Well, we would have done, but of course we got hit by the leopard. I think you can tell why this was such a frustrating team to actually try and get a win with, because a lot of the time the combo just wasn't working at all. Now this is not a terrible team, having the ailments. Manticore is incredibly strong as well. But yeah, it looks like I'm going to change the order a bit and play Fruit Fly second. And again, the Fruit Fly doesn't get to do anything because the front unit didn't get tasty there. But now we're blanketing their team with 4 ailments, so we have a much better chance of this actually working. Okay, here's going to work now. So the Fruit Fly hits the Aklut and then takes all of the buffs to itself. It's so satisfying when it works. It's just incredibly erratic when exactly that's going to happen. But I guess, that's fair enough. With a combo this bad, you expect it to be unreliable. So yeah, it looks like I'm going to put the stronger sea cucumber to the front, since it doesn't really need as many tasty buffs as everyone else. The other super useful thing about Fruit Fly is you don't need level 2 or 3, as we face an extremely strong looking, almost all tier 6 team. In fact, actually, was that all tier 6? Yeah, it looked pretty nasty. I wouldn't be surprised if that team isn't possible anymore. I guess we'll just have a quick spectate. Yeah, it's Bird of Paradise Competo, so with Sauropod. So thankfully the days of seeing teams like that are over. Or at least for now, anyway. I'm sure someone will find another exploit soon enough. This time the Fruit Fly, I think, is actually going to... Okay, it was about to knock out the Pteranodon, but we end up... we're getting very close to having the 50-50 Fruit Fly. And actually the other effect of the Fruit Fly's ability here is that if whichever unit it hits is guaranteed to get the tasty ailment from the sea cucumber. So turn 18, this is not too bad a team in terms of stats, but for turn 18 we just don't have very, very good equipment. I suppose actually at this point I think White Ochre might have actually been a bit stronger than it is now. And here you can see, yeah, we get the refill on stats after the Blowfish Snipes hit the Fruit Fly. And at the end of the day, it's a relatively comfortable win against Elephant Blowfish, which I don't get to say too often.